Good evening. Greg here, burn at both ends, burning on the back end tonight. It's just about 18 minutes to midnight, May 7th, 2018. And before we kick into the topic for tonight, just want to mention something that's coming up that's going to be exciting for the Burn at Both Ends audience. I've been recently accepted into a really intense entrepreneurial training. It's called it's sponsored by the Department of Energy. It's called it's the DOE Energy I-Corps, and it's a 7-week program. It's all about customer discovery, about ecosystems, about taking a technology and going out in the world and conducting these interviews to understand if the technology has any commercial viability to become a product or a service, and to wrap a business around it. And it's just really intense, and it's really awesome, and I am a little bit scared of it because it's going to be a lot of work, but it's going to be a lot of fun. It's really beneficial. And so I'm going to be starting that in early June, and I'm really excited for it, and I'll be documenting it on this YouTube channel. So it'll be really fun for you all to check it out too. I won't be able to get into a lot of the details about the technology and who we're talking to for various reasons, but the overall process, the intensity, it'll definitely come through, and I'm very excited about that. So stay tuned for that. We kick off, I want to say June 5th in Colorado. We have a week training on the front end, then 5 weeks of hardcore interviews, about 100 interviews in 5 weeks, and then a week of training on the back end, also in Colorado. So it should be a intense but just awesome fun learning, and the kind of thing that I want to put myself out there to do, just to grow myself, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And so, but tonight's topic, let's get to tonight's topic. It's called relationships and timing, and the way I see it, success in life is all about relationships and timing. It's pretty simple. I'm playing the infinite game, and relationships are the most important commodity. There's no doubt about that. So I work on the relationships. I spend time on the relationships, and I do this by telling my story, looking for alignment in other folks, and purpose, with vision. You know, you're kind of waiting for someone's ears to perk up when you talk about what you're interested in, what you're doing, or what I'm doing, what I'm interested in. And then have patience for the timing to synchronize. That can be painful. I had mentioned before, I have a problem with patience. I can be impatient at times, and so that's something I'm working on. Part of my self-awareness is have some patience. And I just want to throw in a shout out to Gary Vaynerchuk, huge inspiration for me. Got me on this path right now, and he's got some great stories about patience, and he really hammers on that. And so I'm working on it, and I find that I'm having success in it, and it feels good to have success in it. So let's talk about relationships, right? So I focus on building relationships when I first meet people, create connection, find out what they're working on, what they're interested in, what am I working on, what am I interested in, build rapport. It doesn't always have to be business. Sometimes it can just be we both like the same type of sneakers, or we have our coffee the same way. It's amazing how some simple things like that can just open a whole door, and then now everyone's relaxed and they can talk about business. I find that to be very true, is that there can be this kind of nervous energy on the front end, and breaking through that nervous energy in some way is very important, and that can be, like I said, very simple, non-business topic, and it could even be a silly topic, or it could be a very serious topic. Sometimes you meet someone and you can tell that something's wrong, and maybe they just need to get something off their chest. They had a rough day. I don't know, one of their parents is in the hospital and they just need to tell someone. And sometimes it's really easy to tell a complete stranger a really intimate detail about, I can tell someone about my life because I just met you, and I'm not really concerned about being judged or that you're going to tell anybody. And so I can reveal this intimate detail, and then I can just, as I say it, it just falls off me, and now I can focus on why we're talking. So look for that connection. As far as communicating goes, use I choose to use as many methods as I possibly can to communicate with people. I try to find out what they're open to, what's the best way to communicate with them. Is it text message? Is it email? Some folks, right, you send emails, or I'll send them emails and they'll never respond, and then one day I'll show up at their office and I'll get a glance at their inbox and they've got 20,000 unread emails. It's like, oh, that makes sense. And then you find out, oh, I just have to come here and talk to you and you'll do almost anything for me. Wow, or this person likes me to call them, or this person likes me to call them to see when I can stop by, and then stop by and talk to them. Or some people, they love email, and it's like, no, email me 200 questions and I'll answer all of them in great detail. So I choose to use as many methods as I can. I choose to find out the folks I'm working with, what they prefer. I have a whole thing about email I'll get into in some future post. My personal opinion is email has to go away at some point in time. I find it to be a very challenging communication tool. And for me, I don't cherry pick the communication tool to use, because I think that makes it challenging. I'm open to, you call me, you text me, email me, whatever. I'll work with it. Some platform, some login. But with all this technology, I would have to say, and this is what I learned when I ran an automation business in Sarasota. It was an international business, so we flew all over the world. Is the power of the face-to-face is so important. This day of technology and text messaging, all this whatnot, getting in front of someone and looking in their eyes and talking that is the ultimate. There will never ever be a replacement for that. I encourage everyone to practice that. I practice that, and press in the flesh. This works. It's important. It doesn't have to happen all the time, but it's especially important on the front end of a project, just to put a face with a name. And then regardless of how you're communicating, the power of stories. It's so important. I like to speak in stories. And it just lends itself to so many benefits, right? People remember stories. People like to tell stories. It's unbelievably important. And so I like to package my interesting comments and stories. And, within the story, you can drop other hints and details about different things that maybe you're interested in, or maybe I like, or so on and so forth. To create more connection. And I'll link it below, but there's this great TEDx talk by this gentleman named David J.P. Phillips, and he goes through the magical science of storytelling. It's just a great 15-minute video. I highly recommend it. He does a great job in laying out some great storytelling. The next major point here, right, relationships and timing. So what is the timing? And this is the patience component I talked about before. And the patience to learn about someone else's timing. Like, for example, right now I'm working with a startup, and I do this pro bono work for startups, which some folks don't really agree with that style. Like, why would you offer your work for free? There's no value in it. The whole bit, piece about people don't find value in things they don't pay for. But what I find with the pro bono work is it makes a very useful first conversation, because we just get right into what problems they're solving right now, because they're not worried about an hourly rate and about hiring a consultant and what am I going to give this person. They just talk about their problems right away. So we step over that whole barrier. And plus, I have this whole thing about hourly rates. I've done that gig before. My opinion is the minute that, party A and party B get into an hourly rate agreement, they're immediately in an adversarial agreement, right? The hiring party wants the consultant to work as few hours as possible and deliver as much as possible. The consultant, in theory, wants to work as many hours as possible and get paid as much as possible and find more work for themselves. And so it's not really, in my opinion, not really a good situation, even though you'll find hourly rates all over the place. And it does work. It can work. I just find that it's challenging. If I'm working by the hour, why am I motivated to become more efficient? In fact, I should come up with ways for it to take longer so I can get paid more. I'm only getting paid if I'm working. These are not very entrepreneurial things to do, so I'm all about results-based pay. But anyway, back to this startup. So I was doing some pro bono work, but then we identified some nice paid work. Looking forward to that. But it seems like the timing is not right for the startup for whatever reason. And the impatient version of Greg would kind of get annoyed and say, we got to do this now and blah, 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 blah. But the patient version of Greg is playing the infinite game. And whether we do this work now or in 6 months or in 12 months, it doesn't matter. What matters is that we do the work, because the work has to get done. The work helps the startup. The work helps me. It helps all of us. So I am practicing empathy. I am practicing patience. And I am eager and excited when they knock on my door to do this work for them if they do. So, and back to this timing piece. All right, a little side there on the story. So, patience to learn about someone else's timing, and folks will tell you. Folks will drop hints, or they'll just blatantly tell you, "Hey, listen, I got a lot on my plate. I really can't talk until September." Okay, so all right, I'll hit you up in September. And that's easy, right? Put a reminder on your calendar, August 20th, boom, email so-and-so, kind of simple. And that's a great way to set yourself up for success, is to remind yourself about these things. So that way it can fall off your plate and it's not a big deal. You put that reminder up, you don't got to worry about it, you don't got to think about it. Put yourself a note in there, or I'll put a note that just reminds me in specific detail what it is I'm following up about, that way I don't just say, it doesn't just say, call Sally. It's like, well, who's Sally and why should I call? So put enough in there that 6 months from now, you know what it means. And then on the other side of timing, when the timing is right, it's going to be obvious. Things are just going to fall into place. You'll just all of a sudden, nothing, and then all of a sudden, 2 days will go by and boom, 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 all these things will fall into place. So it'll be obvious. And one of the examples is when I was working for this business in Sarasota, we had a customer who was trying to solve a problem for years and years. And this customer invested a tremendous amount of time and resources to solve this problem. And he was telling us all about it. And we had a solution for him. And let me tell you how quickly he jumped on that solution. He found money. I got a phone call the next day. Within a week, we had a contract for a $500,000 machine. And even then, we were already talking about machine number 2. So it's kind of how it works. That's a great customer to find. And then, the third point about this that kind of wraps around the whole thing is the infinite game, right? These relationships are important. The timing is important. We don't want to burn bridges. We want to, we just want to have a very strong network of people that will trust us, will rely on us. We can rely on them. We want to avoid forcing, and I avoid forcing it completely. I talked about that the other day, about being at a conference and there are some high-level folks there and I want to meet them, but I don't have a good angle yet, so don't force it. Think long-term. Think, how can I get an introduction? How can I work an angle? What can I learn right now to build that angle? I find empathy to be a huge piece in this, right? Thinking about if the timing is not right, if I'm ready and they're not, learn about why they're not ready and empathize. And then, the last piece here is it's just kind of like dating. And, if there's only one girl in your pipeline, or in my pipeline, I should say, there's going to be acts of desperation. And I want to avoid that. So I want to have, with opportunities, I want to have many in parallel moving forward. I avoid the desperation, right? I'm getting these opportunities spinning. I'm moving them all forward, and that way when one kind of goes idle for a while because I'm waiting for timing to kick in, I have plenty to work on, and that seems to work really well for me. And that's exactly what I'm doing right now. I got many opportunities spinning, and I'm excited to keep them going. And that way, when, like I said, when one stalls a little bit, there's no sweat. Move on to the other one. And I find it for me, it really helps me deal with the patience, right? And that's also the other piece to patience is persistence. Is keep hitting it, keep attacking it. That's the whole point of this channel. Just persistence. Just keep hitting it. And so I'm gonna wrap there. Check out the description. There are a bunch of links to some motivational videos that I really dig. Once again, shout out to Gary Vee. Thanks for the inspiration. Really appreciate it. Appreciate all the content you're putting out. Heard some great things today. And let's see. Oh yeah, beats in the background. That's my alter ego, G Money. I've been drumming for quite some time. I love music. So if you like the beats, check them out. There's a link below. And let's see, there is something else I want to mention. I have my little cheat sheet over here. Oh yeah, of course. Please subscribe. Love to also please comment. Ask questions. Ask for help with things. I want to hear about your life journey. A big piece of this is service. So let me respond to comments. Let me see if I can leverage my knowledge to help. If you see something that I'm doing that I could use help with, throw it down there. I'd love to pick it up. So check out the links below. Check out the beats by G Money. Subscribe, comment, ask questions, provide criticism, all that good stuff. And I'll catch you in the AM.